Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm so happy you're here. We are getting ready for another episode of Get to Know Them. I am your host, Monica Graves. And if you're tuning in for the first time, this is a talk show where I bring on people who are just people in my circle that I love and are doing amazing things and have interesting stories to tell. And I really hope that they inspire you. So sit back and relax. Enjoy the next 45 minutes to an hour. You're going to get to know two amazing people today. But before I introduce them, I wanted to mention to you, we have two show sponsors. One of them is a good friend of mine, Brenda Bedome, who is in Toronto, Ontario. She has a beautiful clothing line for women. Her website is brendabedome.com. I'm always wearing her clothes on the show. And she's been generous enough to give us a coupon code, Get to Know Them, where if you use that code, as you're checking out, you can get 22% off of your order, which is amazing. And the other sponsor is me. I am a jewelry designer located here in Burlington, Ontario. I founded my company over 20 years ago. We make beautiful handcrafted jewelry, and you can check us out at glamjewels.com, GLAMJULZ.com. Are you guys ready? I am so excited to introduce our guests to you today. There's a reason I'm wearing a t-shirt with roller skates on it. Let's get started. I want you to meet today Elaine Beck and Philip Morris. Elaine and Phil are the co-founders of Retro Rollers, Inc., bringing the joy of roller skating to as many humans as possible since 2018. With a plethora of past hands-on life skills, which include but not limited to working in the legal field, Department of National Defense, and a history in dance, Elaine rolled into the lifestyle of roller skating with both of her feet. Phil applies his intense analytical skills via his experience in project management, estimation, and engineering to every aspect of the roller skating world. Together, this duo uses each other's strengths to build a roller skating community they feel proud of. Elaine and her partner Phil saw a need for social interactions and felt bringing all cultures and age groups together via roller skating would facilitate this goal. Starting off as an events-based business, it didn't take long before retail opportunities flourished. They opened Retro Rollers Inc. London, being responsible for the rental skates at a pro shop inside North London Optimus Community Centre. In the summer of 2022, they opened another bigger location in Stratford. This location homed their warehouse 1,500 square foot roller studio and retail store. Early 2023 opened up a new opportunity in Toronto, Ontario, with the opening of Rollerpony, where Retro Rollers homed another location for a store and rental skates for their patrons. As Retro Rollers continues to grow with a solid team, they take pride in their brand of trustworthy service and multiple ways to expand individual roller skating skills by everyone that is drawn to this fun-loving activity. I first heard about Retro Rollers from our friends at Scooter's Roller Palace. After visiting their Stratford location, I was in roller heaven, and now I'm going into the portal of roller heaven once again with these two awesome people. Yeah!
Yay!
Oh, yay! Roller skating people. This is going to be an 8-hour interview minimum. No. Oh, I'm so happy to have you guys on today. You
How you doing,
I
Monica?
I'm doing great. And the history, I mean, all the things you've done before venturing into this roller world, it's quite amazing. I'm blown away by all of the things you did before before roller skating. But I wanted to ask you both individually what you wanted to be when you grew up. So Phil, maybe we could start with you. What did little Phil want to be when he grew up?
Oh boy. Um, well, I guess I wanted to be a rock star. To tell you the truth, I wanted to be a rock star. I grew up. I have two older sisters that are 8 and 10 years older than me, and music was a huge part of their lives. There was always Pink Floyd or Led Zeppelin or something going on in the background at the house. And, I just wanted to be a rock star. And, this is where I am now.
You're a roller rock star now.
All right.
Oh, I love that. And how about you, Elaine?
It actually is difficult to answer because I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And I had a bit of interest in a lot of different things. But I think back when I was quite young, I mean, I'm 48 now. So when I was young back then, we were kind of focusing on aiming towards getting a good income back then, not so much doing what you love. So even though I was really interested in dance and music, I was more or less encouraged to find something that was more representative of a better income. So I ended up going into makeup, cosmetics, not so much dance or music, and ended up leaving that anyways. So I didn't know what I wanted to do, really, is the best way to describe it. Mm-hmm.
That's so interesting because it really speaks to our generation. I think so many of us were raised that way, where it was like, get a good job, look for the pension, look for the benefits. And
Right.
inevitably, I think a lot of us have had jobs where we weren't happy, but we're discovering in our 40s and 50s that life is taking us back to where we started,
Mhm.
which is
Exactly.
really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're
Well,
more
that's
living our dreams today rather than, doing what we want to do, doing what makes us happy rather than looking for that, retirement package and things like that. I think a lot of people get stuck in, like before I did this, I was stuck in a job that I was good at. I was good at it, but it wasn't like I didn't go to work with, any joy. You know,
right.
it was a job. And now today we get to bring people joy.
I love that. Yes, joy it's such an important thing because when you don't have that, yeah, I mean, you can make all the money, buy all the things, be miserable 8 hours a day in your regular job, and then retire. And, I would way rather work till the end in something I love. So, yeah, I'm so happy. And you guys are bringing so much joy to all of us. And I think it's great. So I'd love to hear the story of how the two of you met. How did this amazing partnership begin?
So we used to be long distance runners.
Yeah.
So back about 10 years ago or so, we had both signed up for the Scotiabank half marathon in Toronto. And a mutual friend of ours had introduced us. And Elaine was a Scotiabank. What were you?
The first timer. So there's a whole YouTube video where I was interviewed by the Running Room. I think it was hosted by the Running Room, and I think you found me through a connection. And at the time, we were actually both married to other people, and in a transition, I guess, that we didn't even realize we were in our own personal lives. Shortly after we ran that half marathon, he was actually training me to complete it properly, to pace myself. We ended up losing each other during that race because I had to go to the bathroom. When you gotta go.
Yeah, that's right.
So he lost me, and he spent the whole race trying to find me. Now, keeping in mind, of course, at that time we were just strictly friends within a group of runners and just knew of each other mostly. And then shortly after this race was done, I turned off my Facebook and all my social media, and he managed to contact me. And shortly after, I had actually separated, and we got coffee. He had also separated from his wife during that same time, which you don't talk when you're running a lot. Like it's not a part of a conversation that we had with each other. And we got coffee, and like literally that's that was it. We had coffee together every single day after that.
Amazing. And do you remember what you guys talked about during that first coffee? Like, what were sort of the magical things that were connecting you?
Well, at the time, we both had kids that have special needs, and so that was one of the connections that we had. Most of that was to do with the fact that we didn't like talking about autism specifically, and we were kind of tired of it, and moving on from it. So that started the conversation, and just finding joy in life and everyday living, and that's really what started that.
Yeah, we both had a drive for life, right? We both, previously were just, kind of existing, right? Doing the day to day that, you get up in the morning, you have your breakfast, you go to work, you come home, you watch TV, you go to bed. It was like the cycle over and over and over again, and both of us wanted more from life, right? So, getting together, I think we found the fire in each other to do something better for our lives and for the lives of our kids and the people around us.
Wow. So what year was that?
2015, I think that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, he's got 2016. Yeah. Maybe it was 2016. Yeah. I think we met in 2015. 2016. Yeah, he's going to look on his phone like he's going to find the answer on his phone. So another thing we have in common with each other is we don't remember dates. We don't remember like the first day we met. We don't remember the date of. We actually don't have an anniversary, with the exception of I think our engagement, when we got engaged.
And I don't even remember that day.
And I don't really either. We're very much alike that way. So
wow.
Each day, and the day passes, and we don't think about the time and the date, and we just know that we find joy in each other's company.
And now that we're older, we don't even celebrate birthdays.
No.
Who wants to know how much older you're getting? I don't know. Not at this age.
No, not really. I love this though, because it speaks volumes to the whole idea of like going to that job every day, doing that kind of day-to-day stuff. But when you're in joy on a daily basis, you're always celebrating. Every day is a good day. It's not like there's a few special days a year and that's all you get. So I love this. I love this. Yeah. Actually, Mary Jane, who's an amazing skater at Scooters, she just chimed in and said, it's all about the relationship, not the dates, which is so true.
Yeah. We actually laugh about Valentine's Day. We're like, we kind of are like that every day. I don't know. He'll just send me flowers, and I don't know. It was just an appreciation each day. We reach out, and as soon as he drives away from, we separate from each other. As soon as he drives away, everyone's used to the fact that my phone's going to start ringing, and it's going to be Phil. So he's very much in connection with each other, and in just regular life work. And then, of course, when we were both working in our jobs, we would meet for lunch almost every day. Almost every day. It's kind of gross for other people.
No, I love it. So did you guys get married?
No, we never did yet.
Okay.
We actually never made plans to get married.
We were looking around before COVID. Like, we were looking for places to get married. And then COVID happened, and it just kind of fell by the wayside, I think.
And actually, I ended up, So I ended up getting him a ring. It's on his pinky. So this, just to give you an idea. So we haven't gotten, obviously, married. There's no certificate, but we've been living common law, obviously, for years. And 1 year, I guess, he said to me, well, you can always just get me a ring. Because I thought, I have a ring, but he doesn't have a ring. And that was, I guess, the only hiccup I felt. So he says, if you want me to have a ring, get me a ring. So just this past Christmas, I got him a ring, and we have had no time to get that ring resized since December. And here we are. What's the month now? We're in April.
Yeah. That's okay. It's on the pinky.
It's on the pinky.
People ask us, how busy are you? That's how busy
That's
we
how
are.
busy we are.
Yes. No kidding. Oh
Yep.
my God. So why roller skating, you guys? Like, what happened in 2018? What was it?
It was
It was actually
it was
2017.
yeah, it was 2017.
2017.
Yep.
That we,
Okay.
well, that, just going back a bit further, that's when something happened. We had taken our kids, mine from my first marriage specifically, to scooters. And Phil and I were, of course, skating hand in hand, as we always were, connected that way.
Mhm.
And I'm not ashamed to say that we're both very emotionally connected as well. And we both had just tears going down our cheeks, looking at each other without words, since we had always really talked about some type of business that we could run or start up. And in that very moment, we knew this was it. And I had never roller skated. So
You never did, Elaine? Not even as a teen or anything? No birthday parties?
rent skates in Toronto. There was a place outside of Yorkdale Mall, and I can't. It started with R. I don't.
Rinks.
Is it Rinks?
Rinks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was on a weird street name too.
It's still around, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that. So yeah, so I skated there with some friends. Don't really have a huge recollection of it. I just know I was horrible at it.
You rollerblade, though.
I rollerbladed, yeah. When my son was born, I would push a stroller with my rollerblades on. But that was the extent of my.
We don't talk about rollerblades.
We don't. That's a
Yeah.
swear word.
Yeah, right.
I know. I have some too, but I'm like, no, I'm
Yeah.
quads all the way now. Yeah.
But I think even before that, before getting into roller skating, we looked around at the world, and the world was on. Everybody was on their mobiles, right? You'd walk down the street and you'd see all the people like this, and you'd go into a restaurant and all the families would be like this. No one's talking to each other. No one's communicating with each other. There's no social interaction. I'm sure that there was, but it was rare to see. So when we went to scooters, we saw, here's these families.
That's right.
Nobody has a phone in their hand, and everyone is talking and laughing and having a good time. And that's what made us think, like, this is what we want to do, right? We want to bring people together. We want to create an environment where people can be social with each other, and families can get together,
have something to talk about at dinner, or
Yeah.
when you go to a restaurant. Now you can engage in a conversation where previously you wouldn't have anything in common to talk about, where this is non-discriminating. And we just thought that's such an opportunity that would be missed if we didn't seek out more information. So ultimately, October of 2017 is when that started, and the seed had grown over the next following months. I had worked at the time at a law firm, and as an administration rules. So at the time, I've been in contact with lawyers every single day at the firm, and so started the incorporation there, and got some really excellent advice from numerous individuals at that location, and they've really actually encouraged us from the beginning, and set me free eventually so that I could work full-time for the business while he still worked full-time elsewhere. And it took you a full, I think, calendar year before he detached from his full-time job, and that we felt ready to make the leap fully. But yeah, so that's kind of how it started.
Yeah, and we started.
Wow.
We didn't start as a retail-based business. We started as an events-based business. So we had a bunch of roller skates, and we went to different municipalities. Our first summer was spent in our hometown of Wellesley, Ontario. But after that, we went to Waterloo and Brantford and Cambridge and Waterloo Town Square and all sorts of different places, sort of local to us. We knocked on 1 million doors, and we got 1 million doors slammed in our face in our first couple of years.
And we still do sometimes.
We still do sometimes, yeah. But now that roller skating has seen a resurgence in Ontario and Canada, and I guess the world, now we have to turn people away.
Yeah,
we're busy.
Overwhelmed with the emails that we receive every day. In a good sense, it's an excellent complaint to have, and it's not. I don't want it to be misconstrued as, us rolling our eyes at all these emails. It's not the case at all. In fact, it helps us look at each other and go, look what's happening. This is fantastic. I can't believe we just can't commit to this one, and we can't commit to this one. And
we wish we had 70,000 pairs of roller skates and employed hundreds of people so that we could do it all.
Yeah.
And we kind of have to do the line somewhere.
Gosh, I wanted to ask you, like, back to those early days when you had this idea. So were you knocking on doors of like community centers and places where you could just basically set up and have a DJ and have a skate experience? So how did you even work out skate rental stuff? Like, did you have to make that investment up front to get skates and all these different sizes that people could rent, or was it more bring your own skates? How did you manage that?
No, we invested in rentals right away.
Yeah. They weren't perfect. They weren't perfect rentals, but we've made sure they were all good to go. By perfect, I mean they weren't brand new. They were the original style peanut butters, leather boots that
1972.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them had open ball bearings and all sorts of stuff, right? So, we started off with a fair size.
I got some good pictures of those original days where all the skates were lined up, and we would lay tape because every one of them was numbered. So we'd have to lay tape on these benches and then place the skates down, throw them back into bins, put them in the cars, transport them back home. Because that's where we stored our skates. And it was a lot of lugging, like physical work in the beginning. It's still physical, but we've now streamlined a lot of what we do so that it's easier. People. And we have an amazing team of help. Yeah. We're very fortunate.
How many people do you have working for you now?
22.
God, congratulations. That is, whoa.
That's stressful. Yes, I know.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. God, that's so great.
We're not all full time, but
but
mostly
still
part-time employees. We have some seasonal employees as well that work on our events that are remote, but majority of our employees are not only extremely helpful, but they are also very much involved in just jumping in whenever it's necessary. And so we really literally couldn't do it without them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when you say events, are you still doing events outside of your retail locations?
Yes, we do.
Are you? Okay. And how does that work? Yeah. I got some space back here. Yeah. How does that?
So
a giant calendar.
Okay, that's perfect.
I'm a visual person. So with him, he's just like, yes, we can do it. Yes. And he's got his spreadsheets, whereas I'm more of a visual. So I
put it on the electronic calendar and she puts it on the paper.
I can't look at an electronic calendar the same way. I like, highlighters and
I'm like you, Elaine. I like in the phone, it's like it goes down into a black hole. I don't know. It's just doesn't feel as real.
Yeah.
But so if somebody wanted to book you for an event, walk us through the process. Like what does all of that look like? What are they looking for?
So generally what we do is a lot of people don't really know what they're looking for. They know that they're looking for, we want to bring roller skating to. So this year we're we're in Cambridge all summer. We are also in Brantford all summer. So Brantford actually, during the pandemic, so the pandemic was kind of a catalyst for us to branch off into the more of the retail world. Like we did have some retail prior to the pandemic, but once the pandemic hit, we had to switch gears almost fully retail because
Wow.
obviously we couldn't do events anymore. And the London location was closed down. So what we had done was branched off to the retail. Anyway,
Okay.
Brantford came to us and said, "Listen, we can do this outside during the summer. Would you like to do it?" So
we were very excited about that opportunity because we felt very trapped in that our ethics were somewhat compromised, so that we were very much in the belief system that try before you buy. You know, you need to try on the skates, you need to experience the customer service, we need to walk you through what the break-in period is like, and so on. So we really were lacking in that department. So we really had to feed into our online sales, which goes against everything that we really were working on. But we worked, I say we, it was really Phil during COVID that emailed each individual for a good period of time until I finally said, it's time to pull the plug and let people take some accountability and, you know, find their size, that sort of thing, because we were wearing all of the hats during COVID.
Still did it anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, I can imagine.
He had it all set up.
We got really good actually at figuring out people's sizes. You know, I think probably 99% of the people that we suggested their size, it was correct. So we got really good at doing it online with people.
And I got down to like 20 packages done and sent out in 1 hour. So I have a meter of I know how many. So he was taking in the orders.
On the question.
We got sidetracked on the question again. We were so bad for that.
No, that's okay. This is good too.
So to answer your question, so if somebody wants to do roller skating in their community, use Goderich for an example.
Okay, so Goderich reached out to us and they wanted to, so the Rotaract Club of Goderich reached out to us because they wanted to do a Valentine's skate this past February.
And they reached us back in the fall, right?
So yeah, they reached out to us 6 months before that. Yeah. And we didn't have anything booked for Valentine's Day, so that was good. So they said, this is what we want to do. What do we need to do? So we kind of come in as a full service package. So we bring the skates, we bring the people to hand out the skates, we bring the DJ, we bring the lighting, we bring the speakers, we bring everything. So it's very simple for, it's very simple for people to book us because we're a full service turnkey, like a turnkey roller skating event company. So that's basically what happens is people contact us. We find out what the requirements are. Sometimes they want one all ages skate for 3 hours, and it's very simple to that we can give them a price for that. But if they want to extend it to like maybe an all ages skate or a family skate and then an adult skate, then it's more time, more money.
Yeah.
It all depends on what the interested party is looking for.
We had the last period of time between now and last fall, I would say, was very much different than our typical, and it was different in two different ways. One, because it was somewhat post-COVID. I know we're not post-COVID, but after our isolation. And then also we were in the works with Rollerpony behind the scenes, which not a lot of people were aware of course. We don't tend to announce anything until everything is concrete. So we weren't really verbally telling anyone we're booked. We just didn't know because of the build of Rollerpony when it would open. So we really couldn't say yes to a lot. So and now as it stands, we're now completely booked until 2024, I guess. That's what we're at now. So So when someone approaches us for a quick little event, it's not that we are diminishing their event by any means. It's that we can't provide a quality service knowing that we have already contracted out our rental skates to other locations.
Right.
And therefore we wouldn't be able to commit to another, a smaller event. It's not feasible, both physically for us to transport skates, because that in itself, honestly, if anyone wants to see what it was like for us just to get Rollerpony ready for the rental skates alone, and that wasn't the store, it was just the rental skates. We do have a post on Instagram. Kind of proud of my work. I did it myself. I'm
going to check that out.
Yes. I really wanted to put together an example of the type of work that it takes just to prepare a professional type of setup that we take pride in. And then we had them transported. And that in itself is stressful, to get the skates that you finally put all together on racks and load up, and you get there. And now you have to reorganize them when they get there, because of course they've been jostled around. They're on wheels, right?
Yes.
So you got skates on rolling racks. So you got rolling wheels on rolling racks. So you're just like, oh, please make it there okay. And so my heart was like in my throat.
No kidding.
It's a fact. I'm a worrier. I don't know if there's worriers out there as well, but I tend to worry, and I get the text, they've made it, and I feel better right away. So
yeah, they're like your babies on wheels, the little
yeah. And we get people asking us, is this your full-time job? And I go, 24/7. I mean, the amount of time that we work, that's why I'm saying it takes us a while just to get the day started. Because when we start rolling, it's and even leaving here every day is challenging, because it's quieter, and now we could actually put time into doing all these other things, but the work is never done. So
exactly. You'll never hit, there's no finish line. So you kind of have to,
you just go, okay, I think my
entrepreneurial.
I gotta go.
Yeah. I know, it's so hard, isn't it? Like when you think, okay, I got these 4 things to do today. If I get those done, that's good. But then even if you're done early, it's like, well, now I could squeeze this other thing in and get ahead. But you never truly get ahead, because like you say, there's always work to be done. And
exactly. Yeah.
God. So as you're talking about this, I'm like visualizing these, events that you have in all these different locations. And I'm thinking, man, if I was 25 years old and I was driving a retro roller van and I had a crew of people in my van, and I was setting up parties, like that would be a dream job.
Yeah. And honestly, I wish I was 20 doing this now, because I think I could put a lot more energy into the day-to-day work.
We're going to be hiring for a crew for next year. So
good. That was going to be my next question. You got the crew, or
we're looking for like a crew, because
dedicated crew.
Yeah, because we need to, like, although we like to sit, because we're in Cambridge all summer, it was good timing for us just to kind of set up that one location, and as well as Brantford. And we're not able to actually go to a whole bunch of other different places, but we're going to set up 2024 a lot differently. So we're going to have we're going to go back to our actual traveling skate show, I guess.
And I guess one thing that's important to share as well is, we're trying to be an all-in-one business, meaning, everything roller skates is sort of our subheading for our business name. So whenever somebody is purchasing anything through us or coming to our events, what you're actually, in fact, doing is investing in the future of our business, which in any small business, that's the case. But essentially, we're taking that and we're injecting it into the business so that we can now service that much better for each person that's interested in roller skating, and provide it a different or more streamlined type of service.
Perfect.
We run our business like a nonprofit.
We run it like a nonprofit. It is a for-profit business, and there's reasons why we decided to do that. But it's essentially we put everything back into the business, whether it's to set up a better workstation for our staff to get things completed quicker, more efficiently, organized, to adding the rolling racks and the trailer that we got to transport our skates to a new location. And we even sold vehicles to get another vehicle to get everything working more smooth.
Yes, you're building your roller empire. It's perfect. I love that.
We put everything
So
into it.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you guys, like, when you look at this resurgence of roller skating, I mean, I remember how hot it was when I was a kid, like in my own experience, like from 1979 to 1982, like that's what we were all doing. And then, in my situation, high school came along, there were high school dances. I kind of abandoned roller skating, did it a little bit in between. But there are some amazing people out there. Mary Jane, who I mentioned, who's watching right now, who never abandoned the roller skating. Like she's been at this since she was a young woman. And so you go out to places like Scooters and Rollerpony, and you think, oh, it's going to be like, I thought, oh, it'll be a bunch of young kids. Well, no, I'm looking at Gen Xers like whipping around the rink, and like so inspiring, people in their 60s and 70s even, that are just like waltzing and figure skating, and oh my God, it's like so beautiful and wonderful. And so I just wondered, from all of the things you've seen and the feedback you've had from your customers, what why do you think there's been this resurgence all of a sudden, like really in the last 5 years, that we're seeing it all over the place? What do you think that is?
Media.
Yeah, social media.
Social media did
Yeah,
it. Yeah. We like we look at it's what do they call it? The algorithm. So once you start
mhm,
watching a roller skating video on TikTok or on Instagram, then
yeah,
more start to pop up. So it snowballed
But
that
I
way.
also think it planted a seed for those that weren't necessarily a recreational skater going around the outside. Not that wasn't an interest, because now they've maybe fed into that part of it as well, but they really saw and
yeah,
identified with those that were dancing. And that's where I identified with and made that connection with, whereas he was more so, he just liked going faster on the outside and getting that power and the wind in his hair. For some, it's
yeah.
disappeared, but not for
I'm
him.
with you, Phil. I need to learn the dance, but I love the wind in the hair and yeah.
Yeah, and I try to keep up with him, and I didn't have the same ability, and I just really loved the sweat that I got in the center on the floor. I felt a really good workout doing my entire body, of a workout, and plus with my dance background, I really felt more connected to that area, and I think a lot of people did, because in COVID days we had nothing to do, but we might have a 5x5 space that we could work on some skills, some drill work, and then go skating outside, which is actually quite harder to do than roller skating inside, from the sheer aspect of all the obstacles and learning how to navigate those obstacles. So there was a lot more connection to different types of roller skating during COVID, which really helped.
And I think, roller skating is anybody can roller skate. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter if you're big or small, where you come from, what you believe, um, how old you are. It doesn't matter. Like roller skating is for everybody, and I
Yeah.
think that was exemplified during COVID as well. Like, we saw people of all ages, all nationalities, everybody was roller skating. Everybody roller skates now. I
It's
hope.
beautiful. It really brings people together. And um yeah, it's so interesting. I sometimes it makes me really sad, because now that I've been back at Scooters since November with my good friend Melanie, who I've known since kindergarten, and we are diehard. We're there every Thursday. And you know, when I talk to other people about roller skating, they'll say, "Oh, what are you doing that for?" Like, I'm not into breaking bones at this age, and I'm not in,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm trying to tell them, like, this is not scary. And they talk about, they reminisce about the past and how good they were, and yeah, I could even do shoot the duck, and I could, and I'm thinking, and you're not going to try this again? Like, if you were doing all that as a teen, your body hasn't forgotten. It's just going to take some practice to get you back there. But
Yeah.
maybe you guys can talk about that a little bit too, like the whole fear that people think they're going to either break a bone, crack their head open. Like, there's so many fears that people have where, yeah.
They're not wrong in that these fears are true to them, and each individual that has that fear, this is something that we learn. Fear is just an illusion that we've created, and that's something that Phil had taught me, that fear is an illusion. And I really identified with that because this is something that we've adapted to hanging on to, and the reason why we're not doing something. And what I've really tried to incorporate into my Learn to Skate program here in the studio is that they can be unlearned. These fears are very different and unique from what is called instinct, right? So when you're instinctively skating and you realize you're not able to go over that obstacle, your brain says, slow down and stop. And it's one thing to go, I'm just not going to put skates on because I'm going to hurt myself. It relates to getting in a car and saying, I'm not going to drive to an event or something fun because I could die. It is the same thing that we're doing to ourselves. And that's what we're talking about, just existing versus living. And when I teach the class, the first thing that we talk about is your mindset. So when you're putting skates on, it's about closing off those fears. And it's important, you understand you have them, and we're all sort of scared about everyday living. But in this environment, and then when we go outside of this environment after lessons, it's important to put them on with the mindset that we're going to have a great time no matter what happens. We know the fundamentals that will keep us safe, or safer than if we didn't have those fundamentals. And then moving forward, we're going to share that attitude with others as well. So it's really important to understand that about yourself. Even if you're someone that's brand new to roller skating and you've never put them on in your life, or you've come back to it and you're feeling a new connection with it, it's really important to just refocus your brain, your individual brain, because it is a very individual activity.
I can tell you, Elaine's teaching the classes, like it's always roaring with laughter. Like,
Oh,
Elaine,
that's great.
yeah, she gets her classes going, and like I can hear her like cracking jokes and stuff, and I think that helps, right? When people, I often tell people, just most new people or people that put skates on for the first time, what do? They look at their feet and they say, "Oh, look, I have skates on." And I say, "Yeah, so let's acknowledge that we have skates on. Okay, now let's look at where we want to go. Let's relax." And like we try and take their mind off of that they have wheels on their feet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Great.
And when you focus on, I'm going to have some fun and I'm just going to relax and I'm going to, just find the joy in this, then I think it gets rid of that fear.
Yeah. And to those that are beautiful, it's a really important thing to have gear. That's going to help those fears because it is learned, and unlearning is a process. So acknowledging that it's going to take some time. I mean, if people they'll ask us questions like, what's your cheapest helmet? Well, we only sell helmets that correlate to roller skating. So I will say to someone, listen, you don't even have to buy from us. Something is better than nothing if it's going to help you get over and past those fears and focusing on the joy of roller skating. It's so important. And it's important too that if you're doing a skill like skating outside, to wear gear that is going to facilitate a fall, and rather not just like potato chips on your knees or that sort of thing. Sometimes you have to, that's something I learned from Derby. They call that potato chip. chips on kneecaps. When you meet the floor, you want to make sure that the gear that you're wearing is going to perform. So that is something that we take pride in selling in our store, is something that's going to help you. And so that is something that we highly recommend anyone taking on roller skating, is to wear the gear if it helps you feel better. And then once you feel confident, then you make the decision on the gear part.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. So that's such a great tip, because there's all kinds of gear around that people can buy, but coming to your website and seeing what you guys have, I think to me that's a surefire way to know that you're getting like something of quality, that's
Mm-hmm.
going to do the job properly. So, yeah,
Exactly.
that's good. I have to say, so one of the first times when I returned back to scooters and I was watching these amazing skaters, something in my head said, they are actually one with those skates. Like they are in control. Those skates are doing what they want those skates to do. And I thought, right now, I'm not quite there yet. Like I feel like the skates have control over me, but that's just in my imagination. I just have to get better at this skill. And every time I go, I'm like, I'm the boss of the skates and I'm going to tell them what to do tonight. And they like really become a part of you. And the other thing that's so beautiful is roller skating. There is such a beautiful flow to it. Like I was saying this to Mike from Scooters when he came on the show. It's almost like, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but and when you were talking about your tears when you were skating together, it's like you reach this highest form of meditation. There's this beautiful flow and emotions do come out. And but you're also like, it's almost transcendent. You're in a different place.
Yeah.
And I feel like that flow is a real gift. It's something that stays with me throughout the week as I do my work, as I do my day-to-day activities. I'm in this roller flow now, and it's such a magical sport, like nothing I've ever experienced
Yeah,
before.
and for some it doesn't come right away, but for those that are
Mhm.
feeling that comparison, like, I see someone, how are you doing this? And what's really important is that language in your brain that says, perhaps I can't do it, but you have to use that word yet at the end of that sentence. How come I
Mhm.
I can't do that yet? Because eventually, if you continue with the activity, you will be able to do those things that you want to be able to do. And maybe there's some things you can't. I'm not a great spinner. I'm not great at doing toe spins and heel toe spins. I don't actively skate as much as I would like to because of what we do.
Mhm.
However, I know that, one day when I get a chance to practice, I'm going to do that. And using that word yet at the end of the sentence is really important for each individual goals, to keep the mindset positive again.
That's wonderful. So when I visited your location, oh my God, I loved it so much. All the colors. I got my girlfriends all sparkly laces to match their new orbits. Like it was good. And I have a really cool skate strap from you guys in pink.
Yeah.
And there was a young woman, Tina, she helped me out and she was like, this one's really great because you can use it for ice skates or roller skates. And so I was sold on that. Like your staff is amazing.
Oh,
And then
thank
I said, is it okay if I take a peek in the back? And oh my God, there was like disco music, disco ball, everything. You didn't have a class going, obviously, but I was just like, this place is amazing. So when people do your classes, how does that work? Do they sign up for like a certain amount of time, or
Yeah. So anyone
what's
that
all
takes a
involved in the classes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so right now we have mostly the 4-week courses, and the 4-week course simply is once a week for 1 hour. You're in a class, whether it's whatever day of the week it is, and then during those 4 weeks, we implemented a practice time during store hours. So anyone that is registered currently can then come into the studio during store hours, and they just sign in on the sheet, and they're not getting instruction, but they are there to practice. The reason why this has been, I think, so successful is There is a little less pressure that no one is watching, but they also have understood and taken classes on how to poise themselves so that we know that they are actually being safe and following the measures to understand their posture when they're skating and bending their knees. So it's encouraging them to practice. As we say, time on wheels is really the secret to learning at a decent speed. As you'll see, probably the COVID skaters that started in 2020, here it is 3 years later, and their skills are off the charts. They're just absolutely amazing, skillful skaters. So time on wheels is important. So we really implemented that with our 4-week program. And then we also have quad fit, which is fitness on skates. It's more so the drop-in type program where you can come in, skate for an hour, and it's drill work concentrated. So very repetitious. It's very much in front of the mirror, practicing that repetition and using your posture to facilitate staying on top of your wheels. And whatever you do in quad fit will amplify whether you're a recreational skater, outdoor skater, dance skater. All of those skills will apply to whatever type of skater you are, including park skating as well.
Okay.
And
Wow.
derby. Every time.
Oh, and derby, my God, yeah. I just watched Whip It recently. That's such a good movie.
Actually,
Have
before
you?
the pandemic,
Yeah.
you know, just to mention Derby or to talk about Derby, you know,
Yeah.
before the pandemic, Derby was alive and growing, and you know, Derby people were our biggest customers actually for, you know, other than our events, as far as um, skate sales and things like that were concerned. Derby people were our biggest customers, and you know, they kept us going, um, and still continue to keep us going. So I'd really like to mention that, you know, Derby, if anybody's looking to play derby, you know, they're actually, COVID kind of didn't do roller derby a favor. Um, you know, the rink skating and rhythm skating and everything kind of took off, and derby kind of went to the wayside because, you know, there was nowhere to practice and all that kind of stuff because of COVID. So you know, if you've never been to a derby bout, then, you know, look for a derby bout and go out to it and support them. And you know, those people are the best, most inclusive groups of individuals that we know. And you know,
when roller skating took a dive, derby kept going. And so really what we could do all as individuals together is go to these bouts and support them and show them the love that they so deserve.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
Like, and it's all you know, we see a lot of sports that are like male dominated sports like hockey and soccer and things like that. You know, they get a lot of support from a lot of different people and a lot of different, you know, you see hockey rinks going up everywhere. There's nothing for derby. You know, derby needs lots of support, and you know, we're happy to support derby wherever we can too.
We're biased because we absolutely love derby people, and they've been a part of our hearts and our growth in the business since the beginning. So that's why we feel this way.
People of our generation always come in and say, "Oh, is derby still around?" We say yes, and they're like, "I remember Skinny Minnie Miller." And you know, yeah, but derby isn't that anymore, right? It's a real, genuine sport, and it's exciting and it's fun, and anyway.
I love it that my husband's dream is that I do derby. He's like, you should do it. And I'm, you know, yeah, it's sort of like I don't know, it feels a bit scary to me, like, and it feels, but when I see, I was just on the Hamilton City Roller Derby Girls page the other day, and you know, they're so like, come on out, the tryouts start, you know, next week, and we're training now for this, and all are welcome. And you know, it seems like such a great group, but just the idea of the contact, like, and getting knocked over or Yeah.
You get a
I don't
whole
know. Would you do it, Elaine?
I actually would love to try to do a one of these days, a weekend where we have dance skaters teaching derby players how to dance, and then derby players teaching dance players how to
Oh,
derby. That's
fantastic.
Because I definitely want
That-
to try. I would be one of those that would be like, "Oops, sorry, like, excuse me."
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm like you. That would be me. Like, oh my God, are you okay? I elbowed somebody at Scooters the other night by accident, and then I chased her out the door. I'm like, excuse me, I elbowed you. She's like, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, they're great athletes. Like they are outstanding athletes. So
Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. So I wanted to ask you, my last question is retro rollers. How'd the name come up? How did you get to that
Actually, it's
name?
funny you
It's
should
so
say that.
good.
I don't know if I should share this. Maybe I shouldn't, but I actually regret calling it retro rollers. We had a list of names. I have some regret in calling it retro rollers because the reason or the meaning behind retro rollers is that everything old is new again. What has transpired since we have this name is that every event that we have, we are playing 40, 50-year-old music. And that is not the case. We really want to encourage and have those new skaters come out, because if we did not have new skaters, we would not have retro rollers. So it's not that we're putting all of our eggs in that basket. I know it was just Easter, haha.
Love it.
But it's certainly very, very important and significant as a business owner for us to invest in the new roller skaters. So that is where, I just really wanted to say that the new roller skaters. So that's where I'm thinking retro rollers is sort of a.
Yeah, it's not that it's not that we're running a business that's focused on
the past.
Yeah, the past.
We're focused on the future.
Yeah, we're focused on the future. It's the future of roller skating that we're interested in, right? And everybody loves disco, everybody loves 80s music and stuff like that, but the more younger people, they want to hear the stuff that they want to hear. Like I know a lot of people, it's about the music for everybody.
Yes, it really is.
And and I wish that all of our events we could have, like we do. There's one night in London that we do, and it's super hard to please everybody with the music, because we have people there that are 18 years old and we have people there that are 80 years old. So you can't just play only for the 18-year-olds, and you also can't play only for the 80-year-olds and the 50, 60, 70-year-olds, and you can't just play for one generation. So it's super hard to please people with music, and I don't know how we got onto music, but
that's the retro rollers. Yeah,
we could spend 3 hours on music, I'm sure.
Oh my God, yeah. I know, it's so funny. You're right though. Like even when I go to Scooters on Thursdays, I'm like, no, play more of the old stuff. Like they get into like the 90s R&B, which I like, but I don't know tons of it. You always love what you know. Like I'm like, why are you playing this remix of Kool and the Gang? Why don't you just play the damn song? It's way better.
What I actually challenge people to do is to turn your radio station to the style of music that you hear at a rink most of the time, and just start feeding yourself with that music on an ongoing basis. And I feel the connection will be better. And when the songs that do get played come on that you wouldn't otherwise have known, it just brings you more joy. And the point of all of this is just bring yourself joy, make the decision, open yourself up to different music that you wouldn't otherwise listen to, and then move into the future, move into the now, live in the now.
Yes, I love that, Elaine. That's great. It's funny, since I've been going to Scooters, I've been tuning in. I used to listen when I was younger, but I've been tuning into, there's a Buffalo station, 93.7 WBLK, and they play a lot of hip hop, like old, new, and now I'm just starting to yeah, it's so true. I go to the rink, I'm like, I know this one now. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
exactly.
good.
I'd play hip hop all night
He loves
if I
hip hop.
could. If I
Oh,
could, I would play hip hop all night.
I love
And like
80s. I love hip hop.
I grew up with, like, when I was a
I love
teenager.
funk.
oh, funk, yes. More
When I
bounce
was a
to the
teenager,
amp.
I was listening to Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath and stuff like that. But, like,
Yeah.
It's not good to
I would
skate
never
to.
roller skate to it, you know.
No.
Uh, so, going to the rink, going to scooters, and getting to know the DJs there, and getting to know the DJs at Rollerpony.
They love making everyone happy. They don't like when
Yeah.
they get people asking them to play stuff. Interrupting a
Yeah.
DJ, it's you don't know what's going on with them and what they're trying to do. You don't know that the last person that came up to them told them to play the thing that you don't want them to play. And then it's just it's a DJ's job is one of the hardest at the rink. We love
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. God, you guys are awesome. So somebody's just asking, Barb Dalton is asking, do people have to sign a waiver at your events? Is that something you have to do? Or?
It depends.
We're like,
Okay.
yeah,
depends.
some of them yes, and some of them no. It just depends on the actual location. We
Okay.
try to have one online available, but once you sign a waiver of ours, that's good for
Okay.
a long time.
Yeah, we tend
Perfect.
to. No, I better not say anything. My insurance might be listening.
Yeah. But it's a good thing. I mean, I guess for anybody who's doing anything where someone could potentially hurt themselves, it's good to protect yourself with a waiver, right? Like you don't want to.
Sometimes it's tough to do waivers in big events where we have this long lineup. We have to move the crowd quickly.
Yeah.
So we'll have like a at your own risk type of scenario. So the answer to the question is yes, in the studio, 100% of the time signing a waiver.
Mm-hmm.
But at events, depends on the event and how it's being run. So
depends who runs the event too.
Exactly, who's in charge of it.
Okay. Yeah.
Generally, we are under the impression that you knowingly are strapping wheels to your feet.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So
yeah.
there's a potential there that you could get injured, and if you don't understand that when you're putting wheels on your feet,
or if you are someone that needs your hands for your day to day,
Right.
wear wrist guards.
Yeah.
Wear a
please protect yourself.
yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wrist guards are. Barb's just saying, who asked the question, she's just saying she's actually in insurance. That's why she asked. And thank you so much for answering. She said. So there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. So what do you guys have planned for the rest of your day now? You got to ship 100 skates out?
No.
What's the furthest distance you've shipped skates, actually? I wanted to ask you that too. Who's your...
I think France.
So we've shipped skates all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
We only are supposed to ship skates in Canada. Again, our insurance company might be listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Barb, don't tell anybody. Okay.
About us through people, and we refer to from others. So and specific needs that only we would provide.
We've shipped skates to Australia, to the UK, South America, France, Spain.
We've got a lot of friends around the world that we're pretty. We just love everybody. I don't know. It's been wonderful. When we get in Canada, what's the furthest distance? It was the Yukon.
Yeah, we've done Yukon, Nunavut.
Fantastic.
Crazy locations. Remote locations.
And it's cheaper to ship to the Yukon than it is to some places in BC.
Amazing. Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of hating jobs, I worked for Canada Post for 18 years before I decided to go out on my own. And not that I hated the job, lots of great things. I learned so much, but I remember that. I remember how, like, those remote areas, they're very hard to get to. And people would think, oh, that's like Northwest Territories, but BC is like a whole other animal.
Right.
Yeah.
And Alberta too. There are some, nooks and crannies in there that are hard to get to.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like probably shipping
Yeah.
to like Banff is probably more expensive than it is to ship to, somewhere in the Northwest Territories, or
Yeah.
because the plane goes, there's a city out there, and like the plane
Yeah.
goes out there, boom, it's done. Simple,
Yeah.
right? Whereas, if you do Banff, there's no plane going there, and it's going to be a couple of
Train.
locations
I don't
before you
know.
actually get to Banff, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. God, this is so great. You guys are filling the world with joy. I love it.
I
It's
hope so.
amazing.
I
I
hope so.
could talk to you all day,
I
honestly.
know.
So how often do you guys actually get to skate yourselves? Like, do you make time to go for like a good skate, or are you just so in the business now it's hard to?
we kind of skate maybe once a month. Like
Well, once a week lately at Rollerpony, we get like a 10-minute loop around
we'll throw
or
our
so.
skates on.
Good.
Work.
If we do a workshop, when we had
Great on skates.
Great on Skates here and Batman.
Yep.
We got to skate together as a couple, like on ballroom dancing, which was really nice. I teach every week on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays. So I teach, but I have my skates on, but I'm not doing, what I would be doing with my skates on. I'm just
Okay.
by example. So I skate more often than Phil, but just because I really enjoy the teaching aspect. So I just keep adding more classes so I can teach more.
Perfect. Oh, that's great. And that all happens, all the teaching is out of the Stratford location. Is that
That's
right?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
We do have other teachers that are here teaching and filling in as well if needed. So for them, it's been phenomenal to get to share the wealth of knowledge of roller skating that works for them.
Yeah, we have Sal. Sal teaches, Cassandra teaches, and Nikki teaches.
And Tina fills in for me when I need help.
Yeah. Great. Oh, that's good. I do have a business expansion idea for you guys I wanted to run by. I would love to see if you ever did like the drive up burger joint with the girls coming out on girls and guys coming out on roller skates to serve burgers.
We've thought about that.
We actually did something. Yeah, we did something with what were they called? That remember we were in Toronto?
Yeah, we were in Toronto, set up as a store, but
it was like the
Star something Star.
Yeah, something Star drive-in.
Yeah, but we had also thought about like a store, like like a actual drive-in, like an A&W type setup, right? Yeah. And then we thought about what about grease on the floor, like all these things that you wouldn't otherwise think of. Like, could you imagine wheels and grease? Like they wouldn't be able to go behind where the cooks are. So these are things that just
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Maybe an ice cream pull-up.
Yeah,
that's a
special
good one.
Sundays. You don't have to worry about First get what?
We should actually talk to the A&W in town and see if they want to do something like that.
Yeah, we should just do it.
They've got a nice parking lot there.
Oh my God, this is exciting. I'm coming. You guys are amazing.
New ideas. We see the emails that come in, and they have usually they start with, what you should do, and we go, oh, if only I could just like leave this computer and go and do all of the things I would love to be able to, but the time we can't. We try to only take on what we really can do and do well, and that's our focus. So when we're not, if we ever say no to something, it's not that we don't want to do it; it's that we just can't give it the amount of attention that it deserves.
Yeah, for sure. And you got so many years ahead of you with this empire you're building. So who knows we're just gonna watch it all unfold.
That's right.
That's right.
It's amazing. Thank you both so much for today. I'm really grateful to have you come on and share your story. And is there anything that we missed that you wanted people to know, or do you feel like we covered?
We have 3 locations, and the 3 locations are London at the North London Optimist Community Centre, in that location specifically, we are only responsible for the rental skates and the pro shop. So any kind of registration issues or wants or private parties, that all goes to the City of London. We get all of those emails, or a majority of them, and we have to steer them in their direction. It's just because people don't know what we do there.
And then we advertise more than the city does.
And we advertise for them a lot. Yeah. So they think that we are in charge of it, but we are not. In addition to that, we'll just follow here. In addition to that, we have our Stratford location, and there isn't public skating here. There's a few reasons for that, but right now it works really well with our lessons and our store hours. And then we have Rollerpony, and same sort of setup in Rollerpony as in London, where we're responsible for the rental skates as well as the pro shop there. And we're always striving to do better in each of those locations and getting the information out there. So we share a lot of information, but we don't necessarily run those locations. So some people think, they email us and say, do you have a roller rink? We do not possess an actual roller rink, but we do put on. See, he uses the word "yet" a lot.
She said
yet. I like it.
At the beginning of this conversation that you should always put "yet" at the end.
If we did open up a rink, it would be him that wants it more. Not that I don't want one. It's that I can't possibly squeeze out any more energy during the day.
Yes, you can.
Oh, please, Elaine, please. Phil, what about Burlington? Remember Roller Gardens that was here? I don't even know what's in that building now, but I think Burlington would be a kick-ass city for you.
Yeah, I think Burlington or Milton or...
I think Kitchener.
Yeah, Kitchener would be great.
We get a lot of people that are in Kitchener that are kind of getting the pushed to the wayside a little bit.
So every year that we've been open, we've always tried to do something in Kitchener, Cambridge, Waterloo area.
Yeah. And you've got the students there too. You guys are fun. Skater Rob is watching. He just said wood shop. I don't know what that does. That mean something to you? Wood shop?
Woodstock?
Woodstock.
Woodstock?
Oh, Woodstock. Got it. Yeah, wood shop. Haha.
There is actually a good place in Woodstock too.
Mm-hmm. And we have done an event there as well for the Derby team, and it went really well. They were really helpful getting our skates backed into with the trailer. So yeah, and also locations. So if someone asks about locations, why not here, why there, and why this and why that? Mm-hmm. Some of the time it's due to the fact that we don't have storage in a location. If we don't have storage, we are then we're risking our business. We're leaving our skates exposed to being stolen or whatnot. So if there's a safety component, if there's a storage component, all these boxes need to be checked off before we can say, yes, this coincides with our ethics and the way that we work. So if there isn't, things happening in that location, sometimes it's also just a collision of schedule in addition to all those other boxes being checked off.
Yeah.
And the rent's got to be affordable too, right? Like
that's a big deal.
Something, if something's going to cost us $3,000 or $4,000 to rent for the day, then that cost has to go back to the people that are roller skating, right? And no one wants to walk up and pay $40 to roller skate.
No.
So
that's right.
And that's the other thing too, right? Like people would say, I'm not skating there for $40. Well, yeah, neither would I.
Yeah.
We want to keep it affordable, so it's kind of hard to find.
We gauge it. Every location will gauge that price point and say, is it worth it? And in a lot of cases, we've had to say, no, it's not. And it's not feasible for us. They say, well, you opened a store in Stratford. Why Stratford? Because there's no place to skate here. There's the streets. There's lots of places to skate, parking lots. I know that it's not perfect, but this location is great for us and what we do because we live somewhat in this area, and then we have to go to London, and then we have to go to Etobicoke. So we're, it's kind of in the middle that way. So it's great for us to be able to work our business. And we get asked why all the time. And we're not trying to hurt feelings by any means. We're just literally trying to not pull our own hair out so that we can get to where we need to be on time.
Of course, and I love your location. It adds to, there's an adventure component. Like, remember the old Hyde House in the 80s? It's worth the drive to Acton. Like, you guys, Like, it's worth the drive to Stratford. There's so many beautiful things to see along the way. And then you're like an unexpected, jewel and all of that. So I think it's
That's what we
amazing.
thought as well. Like Phil saw this location long before I did. He kept coming back
Before
to
COVID.
it, coming back to it.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way we can afford that place. Look at those giant windows. And, there was just no way. And we've been so, so fortunate with our landlords are incredible people that were a lot like, or are a lot like us. And we felt that encouraged us and really wanted to see us here. And boy, I tell you, with all of the slammed doors, it's so nice to be and feel welcomed. So to our landlords, thank you.
And the good
Oh
thing
gosh, that's great.
downtown Stratford is that it's all small businesses. So the
Mhm.
downtown core of Stratford is all small business. There's no there's no big businesses down here. So
Well, there are, but like they're not in this little area here.
right, not in the downtown.
Yeah.
Well, they don't let big business into the downtown core because they want it to be that quaint.
Go-to destination.
Yeah, it's like a place where you go and there's a bunch of unique stores, right? It's not.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't put it past anyone to come in into our store and also see the performers that do shows here throughout the spring, summer, and fall with the Stratford Festival. I've had the pleasure of teaching performers in Chicago last summer, and
Well, they weren't supposed to be here.
yeah, they shouldn't have been here because they're taking a big risk by being here.
Oh.
But honestly, that was such a huge high for being in this location, and we're around and surrounded by so many colorful, inspiring people. So we love to share those in the arts. Of course, that's near and dear to my heart, and of course, it's close to him because I'm here, right? Like we're good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exciting. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a destination town, right? Like you can.
Yeah.
There is the Stratford Festival, so there's always in the spring, summer, fall.
Yeah, plan a trip where you go to a show at the end of the day after you come into the store, or you go to the restaurants that are around here that offer all kinds of food. I mean, I love the food here.
Yeah, there's a lot of great restaurants.
A lot.
A lot of great restaurants. A lot of great stores to visit.
Oh.
It's not like you have to come to Retro Rollers and you spend a couple hours in our store, because that's generally what people do.
Mhm.
They spend an hour or whatever in our store, but it's not like you have to drive home afterwards. You can explore the town, and there's
Go down to the
so much
river.
to see.
Paddle boating. It's fun stuff.
It's
Yeah,
nice.
it's amazing. And there's the little British shop in Shakespeare. I like to go in there on the way.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, so the skater Rob, you know how he was saying wood shop and we thought Woodstock? What he was trying to say is the old roller gardens in Burlington is now a wood shop.
It
Oh,
is.
I see.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
just so
Okay.
you know, because I've always wondered what happened to that place. It was so great, and I can't even recall exactly where it was, but now I'll probably see Skater Rob at Scooters on Thursday, so I'll have to ask him more.
Yeah, you probably will.
But I'll check it out. Maybe they're desperate to, they want to give it to you. You never know.
Well, if there's any investor out there that wants to help us,
yes, please. Okay. That's so great. Well, you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you so much. I'm going to put you in the virtual green room just for a minute while I say goodbye, and I'll be right back with you in just a sec. Thanks, Elaine and Phil. You're awesome. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Oh my gosh, more roller skating chat. Is there anything better? I don't think so. That was so much fun. Make sure you check out Retro Rollers and go visit them in Stratford for sure. Go to Rollerpony, wherever you want to connect with them. They are amazing people and they have a wonderful business. Be sure to check out our show sponsors, glamjewels.com, GLAMJULZ.com for jewelry, and of course, brendabadome.com for clothing, and you can receive 22% off of your order when you use the coupon code Get to Know Them. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day and keep on showing the world your sparkle. We will be back here again next week with another amazing guest. Have a good day.